You're listening to Bare Your Soul. I'm your host, Julien Collet. Stay with us. How are you feeling right now, knowing that the things that you're saying are going to be broadcast on the radio?
I'm feeling it feels weird, but I don't know, like I'm doing this for you, so it's like a good motivation. I'm trying not to think about me being nervous of all of this.
Is that
situation.
what the weirdness is? Nervousness?
It's nervousness. It's also scared. I'm scared of because of me also talking in English and sometimes losing my words in English, but it's fine.
And why is that for anyone who doesn't know?
Why is that what?
Why might you lose your words in English?
Because it's not my native language. My native language is Spanish. Español, Nueva York.
Will you introduce yourself?
Yes. My name is Luna. I'm 21 years old. I'm from Mexico, but I'm currently living in Paris. And I met Julien 10 months ago. We've been dating for 10 months, actually.
So let's start with this moment a bit ago. Earlier today, I was thinking about this episode and what I have to get done for it due in 2 days from when I'm recording this, and realizing that I had let that expectation of me fall behind the other ones that I have for myself, and needing to find a guest to come on to talk to, record, edit, all the work coming up, and realizing I have 2 days for that, and I didn't do the work enough in advance to really do any of that. And I was on the phone with you. What did you think of me as somebody who was irresponsible enough to make that mistake?
Irresponsible? Oh, you're not irresponsible. I wouldn't say that, because you were precisely irresponsible in other things that it ended up leading to this moment. But it's not, I wouldn't say you're irresponsible.
I think when it comes to any professional work, that I want to present myself as somebody who has it all together. And if I were to bring somebody on to this show in a way that I deem to myself irresponsible, that I would feel like I'm failing professionally. I think a big part of it is just giving the perception that I am somebody who has it together. And I think it ties into all sorts of creative feelings that I have of like not wanting to post projects until I feel like they're perfect, because then people will think that I'm not good. And that conflicts entirely with the whole process of getting good. You have to make the bad stuff before you get good, and you have to just embrace the fact that you're not good yet, and that's okay. But there's so much of me that wants to, before I ever put anything really out there, to be perfect already.
It's interesting because as I see it, for me, you bringing someone last minute and making it work, like, because at the end I feel like you are the type of person that can, like, that already knows how to do this. Not your first time doing an interview. It would not be the first time, like, talking about this type of subjects, or like vulnerability, emotions, and all of this. So I feel like at the end of the day, it might not be the best episode, but like there's still some rawness that comes with making it last minute, and this person showing up for you and doing this for you, that will eventually give you a pretty interesting result, that it might not be perfect for you, but it's perfect in its own way, and like in what represents, apart from the podcast itself, but more like about what it represents, like about your relationship with this other person, And it's also interesting to sometimes maybe take a risk, like what we're doing right now. And at the end of the day, yes, it's scary, but it can also bring something pretty cool and interesting. But there's also this balance between, I read this sentence the other day. It's like, it's better to always be good than just sometimes being great. It's like, it's better to keep this consistency with things that you do that you know are good. Maybe it's not the best and it's not perfect, but you being consistent is better than only expecting greatness all the time, you know? And you have shown like you are good at doing that. And because of that, I think you should also be able to fall in love with not failure, but like with kind of like bumps in your path, con obstáculos en tu camino.
You're listening to Bare Your Soul. This is episode 2, Delusions of Grandeur.
And I was thinking about this in the shower. There's also an expression in Spanish that I wish I would have translated before doing the interview. It's called delirio de grandeza. I always have this sense that whenever I see someone that is doing something that I would want to do, I'm always like, oh, I really want to do that. And I bet I can do it better than you if I were in your position, you know? And it's kind of hard to admit out loud because it sounds like I am an egocentrical person that thinks she's better than everyone else.
Do you think that this is an egocentrical quality of ours?
Yeah, but I also need it. I'm sure that I need this quality to attain what I want to do, you know? Like, I'm here because I believed in myself. I've proven myself that I can do things and that if I remain disciplined and consistent with being good, and because I've done it, I would say like a solid amount of times, I can't help but think that I can keep doing it, you know, throughout the rest of my life. So for me, it's easy to assume, because low-key I do assume it. It's like, I can do this better. Like, if I take my time and if I am disciplined enough, I can do this work better than you. I know. And it's not only that I know, but people have told me too. You know, I also get this reassurance from the people around me. Not all of the time, but often. So, I don't know, I think it's this concept of proof that I keep mentioning, but it's true, that makes me want to be delusional for the rest of my life.
When we think about what the result is of being delusional in this way, it's hard not to think, well, if I'm delusional about how successful I can be, like worst case scenario, it makes me want to be as successful as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it leaves me. I wonder, have you ever noticed a bad side effect of this personality trait?
Yeah, I've had my best friend. She told me once, she's like, tienes que bajarte de tu nube, which means you have to come back to Earth and leave your little cloud where you've been living this whole time, basically. So you have to chill. Another Spanish expression, no eres la última coca del desierto, like you're not the last Coke in the desert. And she rolls her eyes. She's like, because, you know, before I wouldn't say these types of things out loud, you know, I wouldn't say like, yeah, I'm the best. Like, yeah, I was the best grade. Yeah, because it's also, it makes me feel like I'm being egocentrical, or that I'm only focusing on myself and it's like my only objective, and like I always want to be the best and I'm the best, and like that type of discourse. It's not me either. But at the same time, I think it's important to acknowledge it and to let people know, because the right people will see that in you and will see the confidence and will eventually believe in you, because I told you this like a few hours ago. Like, if you don't believe in yourself, no one will. And why not? Why not saying it out loud sometimes, right?
Do you think you've always been this way? Today, I met with a friend who I have known since the 5th grade, this girl, Florence Bazile, who went to my elementary school and was visiting New York. And we were catching up and reminiscing about old memories from this class that we were in together in 5th grade, Mr. Weiss, and different quirks of that class. He wouldn't let us say like in class. And if we asked, can I go to the bathroom, he would say, I don't know, can you?
Oh,
And we would
yes.
have to wait 5 minutes before we could go. And she told me about another memory of me. I mentioned how I was like, didn't we used to relate about Harry Potter? We were both into Harry Potter. She said, yeah, we competed. And I said, what? So in Mr. Weiss's class, we had these reading logs that we would do every week that kept track of how many hours we read. And at the end of the year, all of those hours were counted up, and they served as currency that you could use to bid on different items from like an auction. And me and Florence had started reading Harry Potter in his class and somehow found out that the other was reading Harry Potter. And she told me that we would compete, that I would come to school and I would say, how many pages of Harry Potter did you read this weekend? And she would tell me, oh, I made it to chapter 2. And I'd say, oh, well, I made it to chapter 4. And we would go back and forth trying to outread the other person. And I thought, wow, so I've been like this.
Yes, you've been like this. Aww.
So I've been the nerdy guy who wants to get ahead and wants to prove that he's excelling. And at the time, the gall to have to be so forward about how competitive I wanted to be.
Yeah.
No, I read more than you. Very 5th grade response. But now that temptation still sits somewhere in my head.
It does.
Wanting to prove myself above people. And in one way, it's a narcissistic quality that is in a way childish, that maybe you should push away or try to grow out of. In another, I think that it's a sign that my first instinct when I approach a challenge is to believe in myself. That the second I see something that I'm incapable of, that I view it as something that I could be the best at if I wanted to. And it's interesting how both of those descriptions are completely opposite when you ask the general person, is this a good quality to have? Is it good to be narcissistic? No. Is it good to believe in yourself? Yes. So how do you square that circle? I wonder how this plays into how we feel about one another. How do I feel about you being this way? What does it make me believe about who you are and what it is as evidence of how the future of our relationship is going to go? I think it makes me feel really confident about the future of us dating. There's something about school that I've always believed in. Maybe I believed in it because I wanted to, because I just happened to be good at it, so it was a nice thing to believe in. It reaffirmed the thing that I was already successful at. But when I hear that somebody was a good student, it gives me a good impression of them. I don't know. When I first met you, I was always really attracted to the idea of you being some scholarship earner. You getting different money to go to school was always something that was attractive to me. And I don't think it was like a hot librarian kind of attractive. It was like a reassuring kind of attractive. It was like, being with this person is going to be stable, is going to be filled with like success. And when I think about a life with you, I believe that that you will be somebody who I don't have to take care of, who I don't have to worry about, because you've proved to me enough that like you're successful on your own. It's career, it's mental, it's these different kinds of success, and it's the kind of things that I like want in somebody long term. So if it's a magic spell, I mean, you cast it on me, and it's working.
I see where you come from when you say that. But for me, it's more about that, about the discipline, than about the grades, you know? I don't know if I relate myself to someone that is an academic weapon. Like, I remember me wanting to be someone that was academically successful. I just wanted to be successful, point. But not in relation to like school and education. It was more like I want to prove to myself that I can do this by my own.
You don't want to be limited to the scope of school. Maybe when you were a kid, the only way that you could really prove you were successful was school. This was the greatest opportunity you had to prove it. And so you proved it in that field. But you don't want to consider yourself as somebody who only is successful in the academic field. The second that you leave it, you also expect yourself to be successful in work. And even if you stopped working, you expect yourself to be successful at creating, at mothering, at whatever the other disciplines of your life.
Exactly. I think I'm also traumatized by a comment that, again, my best friend made to me once. She said, you're more on the book smart side. And I think that was like striking to me.
She limited you.
She limited me to only being good at school and not being able to do better in other fields, like socially, emotionally.
How does it seem that I view you in terms of how put together, how perfect, how successful, how everything?
I think it's different because I think I'm at a point of my life where I'm no longer scared to show the things that I'm not good at. So, for example, I think with you, I've also been, like, you've seen me going through, like, you know, how my mood changes and when I get all stressed out, and when I was about to send my thesis and I was so late and I didn't know what to do, and you even helped me, and that's so out of character from Luna when she was like 18 years old. Especially with you, I think it was very easy and I felt very safe in your presence, like since the moment I met you. So I was like, either he's in or not. I'm just gonna be myself, even with the low moments. I feel like with you, I'm so true to myself. I feel like we've passed this stage of creating this persona for the other person, you know? Like, I no longer feel this pressure to be someone that I'm not. And more than pressure, it just like, it doesn't feel like pressure. It just feels like I want to be better for him, you know? But it's not, we are so verbal about our admiration for each other that it just gives us the motivation to be better and to continue to grow together.
Thank you, baby. Thank you for coming on this show.
Thank you for inviting me.
That was episode 2 of Bare Your Soul. I'm your host, Julien Collet. If you're listening out there, if you're tuned into 89.1, I want you to do something for me right now. Text me. Get your phone out, and I'll give you the number. I need to learn from what people make of me and my guests and our truths, so please, all strangers welcome. The number is 310-951-3234. That's 310-951-3234. Thanks.